So for those of you that may be late to the game, maybe you're just thinking about getting a real estate license, since we have some viewers from the exam prep group, or maybe you've had your license for like maybe the last 20 years, you've missed a lot of racist stuff. And I say that because when I saw this come out, I thought that's kind of weird. Like, why are they doing that? We've had fair housing, we've had all these ethics classes that were taken, and we've had all this stuff. You know,
we were covered, right?
We can't say where crime stats come from because that's racist. We can't. I mean, there's almost overkill as far as what I've experienced as being a part of the National Association of Realtors and real estate in general since becoming licensed in 2007.
Right. So why have we had to step our game up?
Why are we apologizing?
Right.
Well, this may shock some of you. All right. So the National Association of Realtors issued a kind of an informal apology. On Thursday, NAR Apologizes during a virtual summit on diversity and inclusion hosted by The Hill, a top political website, and co-sponsored by NAR 2021, which I thought that was interesting because The Hill is historically conservative, but I think the NAR has given more money to Democrat campaigns in the past. So that I thought that was interesting that they were even on that. But here's
I find it interesting that they give money to political campaigns.
Well, I mean, let's not get political. Tongue in cheek. What realtors did was an outrage to our morals and ideals. It was a betrayal of our commitment to fairness and equality, said Oppler, who participated in the presentation along with NAR's Director of Fair Housing Policy, Brian Green. Quote, "We are sorry." So it's a bit. The reason why I said it was an informal apology is because they were saying it's not like a letter issued or anything like that. So
it's
then I was
from
like,
this guy.
I was like, well, why are we sorry? Because I know John Legend like came out and said, realtors, you need to show all the houses that somebody's qualified for. I'm like, who doesn't do that? Right. So that's
then didn't he back off of it a little bit?
Well, then a lot of realtors were like, well, why don't you fix what's happening in your own house? Like all the, trafficking and stuff with celebrities and all that. And so he did back off a little bit, but he was just like, I'm not talking about all realtors. I'm talking about those realtors, who I'm talking to, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he partnered with
NAR
thing. Yeah.
And he spoke. And when he partnered with NAR and spoke, I said, this sounds like an apology tour. You remember me saying this?
Yep.
And then I even mentioned like Obama's apology tour when he went around the world and kind of was like, I'm sorry on behalf of the U.S. So this is kind of similar. It sounded to me like it was similar to that, where the NAR was like, well, let's bring John Legend up and let people know how sorry we are. And the whole time I'm like, what are we sorry for? Like, I know the thing that happened in New Jersey that was terrible, but that's so individualistic. It wasn't like a systemic thing. Then,
and so hold your thought. But when you apologize for us, right? How many of us are there? There's a lot of quote unquote
1.4 million.
1.4. So when you apologize for us, that means we're all saying we're sorry.
Yeah.
Not saying we will be better or those of the 0.1% of us that do this crap.
It gets on my nerves when they say we're going to try to do better. Like, what do you mean try? You just do better. Do or do not. There is no try.
Like, I've never deviated into any of this stuff. Yeah, do or do not. There's no try.
All right. So then I was like, why are we apologizing? What's going on? And I think we even talked about this 2 weeks ago when we talked about there's a group that is basically for Black real estate agents. It's the hang on. I always get this wrong.
I know. We want to make sure we're saying it right.
It is I want to say it's the National Real Estate Council or something. National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Okay. So it's an association made up primarily of minorities, African American, Black, etc. And it was created, I think, to combat NAR. I'm like, what is going on? All right. Then I got to this quote, guys. This is why NAR is saying I'm sorry. Discriminatory practices weren't just tolerated for many years. They were baked into the association's guiding principles for much of the 20th century. The passage of the Code of Ethics. This passage is from the Code of Ethics, added in 1921. Here's what it says. It was revised over the years. It was repealed in 1974. All right, but here's what it said. Realtors should never be instrumental in introducing into a neighborhood members of any race or nationality or any individuals whose presence would clearly be detrimental to property values in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. So now I get why the National Association of Realtors is apologizing. But you know what my main question is, Dan?
Yeah, I do.
Why have you waited 50 years?
Well, 100 years, it was written in there.
It was written in there 100 years, but it was repealed almost 50 years ago.
No, read it again. It says it was revised, but not fully repealed.
Oh, it was not fully repealed.
Right. So it hasn't been repealed. It's been revised, but not fully repealed in 1974.
So that's what people talk about, the redlining and stuff like that is well known in our history. And I think it's probably like a...
Oh, wait, though. Do you think people read this and then go, oh, okay, I have to do that? Even though ethically within their own self, they're like, well, I shouldn't do that. But the code of ethics say I should do that. That's no.
It gave an excuse for those people to be racist who wanted to be racist.
Right. So, and they get to go, well, the code of ethics, I say, I can't help you move to this neighborhood.
Right.
But that even hurt me to say that.
Yeah. Dusty Martin said, yeah, that pissed me off. I've never done anything of the sort. So basically stated we were all guilty of something, which is BS. So I hear you. I know what you're saying.
But then when you see this, right.
When I saw that, I was like, yeah, y'all are guilty, NAR. Like you're totally like that's
ready.
That's
racist. It's who we are. Uh-oh.
Which is a terrible campaign to have if that's in your history and you have not cleared that up yet. So
yeah, you can do all the funny commercials you want, but it's not going to change that.
Yep. So as you know, the hate speech stuff has been banned. So just a reminder for anyone who comments on this, if you do hate speech, I'm going to have the joy of reporting you to NAR and then covering you in a future story when you get kicked out. It'll be fun to see.
It'll be very meta. Yeah. We will report you and then comment on your report.
Totally will do that. I'm not even playing. So we can't go back and fix mistakes of the past, he said, but we can look at the problem squarely in the eye, Oppler added during the Hill discussion. Change starts with us. We must remember history if we hope to repair America's radically divided communities. So I agree with this now for the most part. Whenever I saw that apology, I was like, man, this is just stirring stuff up. I haven't done anything. You know, I couldn't imagine being in that climate, both either as a consumer or as a realtor and facing those things. And no wonder why the National Association of Real Estate Brokers was created, right? But with
they read that and went, whoa.
Yeah. Wait. With new rules in place, it's interesting to see what is going to happen now that you don't have to be a part of the National Association of Realtors to have access to lockboxes. I think the next step is separating the National Association of Realtors from the multiple listing service. And I think, this is my opinion, but I think they will have to open all of that up, because if they don't, they are still prohibiting competition in the marketplace. And it would not surprise me if there are a whole bunch of other National Association of Real Estate agent type groups that are maybe a niche group or maybe a specific group that handles a specific problem. And you could be a member of multiple groups.
Yeah.
So that would not surprise me at all. But very interesting. Ryan Bookrow says, wait, so shouldn't this letter be from the realtor emeritus? Okay.
Emeritus.
Yeah. And not from those of us that have been realtors since 1974. So, yes, he says, kind of kidding, but how do so many of us not know these things? Who's been running the show and let that slide for so long? Yeah, that was a big question. Like, I've been a realtor now for 13 years. I had no idea that was ever in there. I'd heard stories about how, that had happened, but it was probably honestly my own laziness, not looking that stuff up and not being aware of the history of it. Maybe also part of the job that they've done with fair housing. I just thought, wow, this is a group that's really on top of the fair housing thing.
But they let that one slide in there for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
So, but we have to go through ethics courses when we renew our license, when we get a license. So anyone that's watching that works that you're going to have to go through. Part of it is ethics. This wasn't mentioned in there, by the way.
They should totally keep it as a history lesson. If they say the quote, and I think this is kind of what Ryan is getting back to.
Right.
Oppler said, let's see, we must remember this history if we hope to repair America's radically divided communities. I think they need to head it head on and add this, like, say, this used to be part of our group and it is not welcome here and not part of our group anymore.
Yeah.
But you should all remember this. This was part of the National Association of Realtors. Now here's where we are. Now this is why we do the fair housing. This is why we do all these fair housing programs.
Yeah.
This is why we're trying to get this out of our system, basically.
Instead of apologizing for a thing that no one ever knew was there. And he's essentially, to me, this is my opinion solely, not that of the Bearded Men Real Estate Show, but to me, he's making a thing out of a thing that no one, and he's essentially attaching that thing to all the division in the country through housing from essentially one part of the code of ethics that most of us didn't know existed. Am I wrong?
No, I totally agree.
Instead of saying, hey, this was, it's been revised and or you know what? I'm going to change my whole statement. Why not just repeal the damn thing? Get it out of there instead of changing it for the last 50 years. Just get rid of it and then do a whole thing. Hey, this was part of it. We're coming clean on this was a part of it. And we've worked on changing it, but now we're getting rid of it and we're changing it to this. And here's what we're going to do. There's this group and that group and this coalition, and we're going to put all these things together to help build, get away from where we feel that chunk of our ethics have led us. I mean, why not make a bigger plan around it?
Yep. Dusty Martin said, yep, that, Dan, exactly that.
So, yes. And
Eric goes on to say fair housing has always been at the issue of New York metro region. Only now it's been exposed by that article late last year. So if you're not familiar with that article late last year, this is it. I'll post it in the comments and all.
We covered it on the show.
We did cover it on the show. Let's see. This is from November. Was it a year ago? Yeah, there it is. All these undercover investigations. 25 testers were trained in these undercover investigations. 93 real estate agents were tested. 240 hours of meetings were secretly recorded. 5,763 house listings analyzed. A 3-year Newsday investigation uncovered widespread evidence of unequal treatment by real estate agents on Long Island. 19% of the time it was against Asians, 39% against Hispanics, and 49% against Blacks.
See, it's so weird. It's just so crazy to me. And this is, obviously there's data behind this and there's videos and there's recordings of this, but it's so crazy to me. When I meet someone, they say, we're looking here. I go, cool. That's where I'm going to help you find a house. Like I would never imagine steering anyone away from it. The only way is, and I even say if they don't have the budget for something, I said, sometimes our budget is going to dictate where we can look, but let's just, sometimes I even do, where do you work? All right, here's essentially what would equate to a 45-minute drive around where you work. And then we just look wherever. Like, I don't understand. I just, maybe it's different in New York. Maybe it's different somewhere else, or I don't know. To me, I've just never even thought about it. I have white people that live in black neighborhoods and historically black neighborhoods, and black people live in historically white neighborhoods. That's just where they wanted to look. So I show them those houses and help them buy a house.
Dan, I think that's primarily because you're not racist. I think that's the easy answer there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have to say that I have encountered some people wanting to live by their own ethnicity. And I tell them I can't do that. They just have to tell me where they want to live.
Yeah, I did have one client that told me that, and I went, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
you and tell honestly, me the city you want to look in, and I'll help you with that.
I haven't experienced it white yet, so everyone that's told me that has been not white.
Yeah, same
minority population. They want to live by other minorities, which no judgment. Whoever you want to live by, that's fine with me. But I can't sort by that. That's for sure.
Yeah, because soon there will be a way to nationally see what you do and what you set your search up for, agents. So be careful.
Yeah, that's right. So Pete Thorpe said the travesty of that report is that all of these agents were stripped of their license. Oh, really?
Well, it's kind of that, like,
the travesty of that report is that not all or all.
He says all, but I thought I remember some that didn't.
I thought I remembered some that kept their license and stuff. And
I thought there were reports. Wasn't there a chunk of that report where, hey, these agents were all good, they were above the board and all that stuff? I thought
I know there were some that were good. There's also oh man, in name, I'm just going to go back to this extensive reporting. Like Agent Emery Quilly Beshend speaking to a black tester. I won't take out anyone unless you have a pre-qualification letter.
Yeah, we covered that one. Remember?
Yeah, we covered it.
So wait, what can I ask? What's wrong with that?
Can I ask? Can I say that this is a really? Oh wait, yeah, he said that's what he said. Wait, they weren't. Yeah, some of the agents that were racist were not stripped of their license. Yeah, that's
there you go. Yeah, that's a problem.
I have to also commend the builders of this website. Like just on a technical standpoint, this is a really cool website and how
when you
it
can
works.
Zoom in on the little maps. Yeah,
very cool. So yes, I think we covered that lady specifically. There were several people that were confronted with it and they would not apologize. But the issue, Dan, that we talked about with her was that when she would speak with white clients, she didn't have the same requirement.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I forgot that part. Yeah, that's a big thing to. Yeah.
Yep. Dusty Martin said, I had a white for sale by owner say she didn't want to sell to white people because there were too many in the area.
I mean, come on.
What do you care about? Okay, that's funny. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's what Eric was referring to. That's why there is an apology, is because the history for the organization as a whole, for the National Association of Realtors.
And can I also say it's awesome that they're shedding light that this was part or is part of the code of ethics and that they're trying to change it. But
one guy.
Yeah, not even they, by the way. It's one guy.
Yeah, Opler, which he is. What's his? I want to get his title right.
So that's why it's an informal apology, because it's one guy kind of speaking for us.
He's the all right. So President Charlie Opler. I didn't realize he was the president. He said unequivocally NAR's policy support. So he's that guy that we watched that was not a great reader that talked about the DOJ versus NAR. That was him, Charlie Opler. He's the one that brought up this. So that's great. That's actually from the top.
Oh yeah. He was so not excited.
That is the guy. Eric said, I believe some were sanctioned, but not all. Since then, New York has added specific fair housing component to our CE requirements, separate from ethics and agency.
CE is short for continuing education, by the way.
Yeah, for those. Dusty said you can't make this stuff up.